Alrighty guys, welcome back to another LEGO set review from BrickByBrick, and today we have set number 40407. This is the LEGO Star Wars Death Star 2 Battle, the 2020 May the 4th promotion, which was available on May the 4th weekend, which ran from the 1st to the 4th, but I think it was also available an extra day on the 5th because they didn't run out of stock of 2020, with purchases, LEGO Star Wars only, of $75 or more. This set contains 235 pieces, and, they give it an approximate value of $15. Obviously, you can't buy it for that, but I think if you were to return your product and not return the promo, I think they'd charge you, or reduce the amount of the refund by $15. I think that's how that works. But, for ages 8 and up, this follows the same style of promotion as the 2019 one, which was the Battle of Hoth, as well as the Force Friday promo, which was the Battle of Endor. And the Death Star 2 battle is not nearly as iconic a scene as either of those other two, especially not an A-Wing being chased by a TIE Interceptor. But, I figured I wanted to get a Star Wars set anyway. So, I figured, might as well get it now, and, at least this'll give me some pieces at absolute minimum. But, yeah, you get some shots of the ships on the back of the box. And unfortunately, neither of those looks really like what we're getting here, so I'm already a little bit skeptical, but, yeah. So, there is also, it's, relatively plain, but I do appreciate the fact that this is a nicer style of box, so, and the Endor one at least is like that. I don't have the Hoth one, so I don't know about that. There's also a single little mini instruction booklet that unfortunately has nothing special in the front, and even less special in the back. I guess this is a sort of nice picture, but it's basically the back of the box picture. So, but still, it's a decent-sized instruction booklet for what it is, and I appreciate that, it's small enough that it doesn't have to be folded up to fit in the box. And honestly, for the most part, what you see on the box is exactly what you get in person. And, for the Endor one, I was sort of impressed by the overall size of it. Like, obviously you can see how big it is, just based on the box picture, but I don't know, I guess I didn't really put too much thought into it for the Endor one, but now that I've had the Endor one, I know how big they're going to be, and this is exactly the same size, exact same footprint as that one. But again, it's supposed to be the Death Star 2. That's why we have these dark red towers here and the little dark red parts on the surface. Those are like scaffolding or whatever for the people building this Death Star 2 in space, because it is still under construction. But there's no scene in the movie where there's a TIE Interceptor chasing an A-Wing. It just doesn't really happen as this set shows it. Like, I'm sure maybe it happens off in the background, but this is not what it's focusing on. Like, if they wanted to do a Death Star surface one of these, they should have put a wall in the back, had an X-Wing and Darth Vader's TIE Fighter, and made this the trench run for Episode 4. Or if they wanted to do something from, Episode 6, they should have had the Millennium Falcon going to blow up the Death Star 2. But, I don't know, this just isn't that recognizable of a scene at all. Now, that being said, what we get here looks fine, and it looks good, but it doesn't deserve to really take up this much space and have this much presence on display, I don't think. Especially when they haven't done a lot of other scenes that would be much more well-suited to this. Like, they could do a Tatooine one, which I guess they did do a Tatooine one with the comic on something, and it was, not exactly the same, not in this exact same format, scale, style, but, they have done micro Tatooine builds, but, they haven't done a micro Death Star trench run, so there's that. But yeah, the builds here are pretty decent for what they are. Like this mini A-Wing here doesn't look too bad. Like the cockpit is really well done. Overall for mini scale, there's not too much better that you could have gotten here. They've done some advent calendar ones, which I know some people have said that the advent calendar ones are better than this one, and they should have done better. But I don't mind this for what it is. I think it gets the overall size and approximate proportions correct, and you can actually I think it was on this one, and you can kind of lean it to the side a little bit, get a little bit of a cool dynamic sort of pose going on. You got some overall just random greebling on the bottom, which I don't think that the base was really designed to be any specific part of the Death Star 2. I think it's just Death Star 2. Having the dark red in here does bring a little bit of additional visual interest, I guess. But over here, just some more greebling. You use a couple of these masonry bricks, which is kind of nice, and some of these ingot pieces, which I guess at very least you get a couple of good parts in the set. Also those curved, round 1x1 bricks tube, and then you got a couple of these little structures here in the back, which one other really, really minor complaint is that if you wanted to put this up against a shelf, you have this one additional tile sticking outwards, which is just mildly unfortunate. I think with the Endor one, you can rotate there's a tree leaf that I think sticks out backwards. You can rotate it so that it doesn't, and is completely flush with the back. And I think the Hoth one is completely flush on the back. So I guess just really very minor nitpicky complaint, but it is a thing. And we also have this cool little turret, which this looks pretty good, and it's just attached on a single jumper, so you can turn it around at will, and you can move the barrels of the guns too if you wanted to. I guess make it target the TIE instead, which I don't know why you'd want to do that if you are one of the bad guys running the Death Star, but you are welcome to. And the last thing to look at here is the TIE Interceptor, and I feel like this does command a bit more significant visual interest than the A-Wing does. I do like the use of these wedge plates, these newer ones. I don't know if I have a set that comes with any of those aside from this one yet, so it is a cool thing to get, but you can change the angles of those wings a little bit if you wanted to, and they are just clipped on there, and this is actually all completely clipped onto this thing sticking up out of there, so you can change the whole angle of that. You can rotate this whole bar, make it face any direction. I will agree with the one complaint that I've seen about this, the major one, which is that the cockpit just looks too small and skinny. But other than that, it looks pretty fine. I think they could have just used a dish piece, even one of those printed dish pieces that they use for the TIE Fighter polybags. They could have used one of those, and I think that would have just fixed this pretty significantly. But they didn't, and I guess whatever. And they do they use one of those T-bar pieces, so I think that it would actually, I guess they could have just switched. Yeah, they could have made that work, but I don't know what they would have done with the back. But I think even just fixing the front would have just made it that much better. And very final, absolute last thing to note is you get one of these cool little tiles. This is different from the ones that they used in the Hoth and Endor ones, which were the 20th anniversary ones. This one says LEGO Star Wars 2020 instead. Those 20th anniversary tiles go for a lot of money now. They go for like $25 each, and there are only a couple available for sale on BrickLink, so maybe this one will be pretty collectible as well, though I do feel like the 20th anniversary ones may stay a little bit more collectible than this one, but I guess we'll see. Time will tell. But that's all I have for my really super long and drawn-out thoughts about this set, which I realize took 6 minutes of just looking at the build here. So, I think I'm going to cut myself off there. If you listen to my 6-minute rambling spiel, then I guess good for you. No awards to hand out, but you can give yourself a virtual pat on the back. And, I guess if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comment section down below. And maybe hit the like button on the video, and subscribe if you want to listen to more rambly videos in the future, and I'll see you guys all next time. Bye everyone.